Chiquita Stevenson, CEO and founder of the Black Onyx Guide. The Black Onyx Guide specializes in bringing minority-owned businesses to the forefront, to include artists, art galleries, museums, merchants, and newly added physicians directories. So we're going to have a providers directory where you can come connect with merchants, providers, artists, art galleries, and museums all in one place. Today, we have two very special guests with me for Artist Talk, Mr. Jerome Jones and Mr. Jeromyah Jones. These two are dynamic career-long artists, but they are not just your ordinary artists. They are both father and son. I would not do justice, but I'm going to try my very best to pull out some of the highlights. And you guys, please, I'll give you the opportunity to introduce yourself to our audience in just a moment, because again, I know that I won't do justice. So these two have been featured in various magazines, art shows, appeared on popular media networks, and just to name a few, they've been in Boomer Magazine, Richmond Magazine, Inner Sight Magazine, and they've also featured in Here to Hear's annual benefit gala, Artist Extravaganza, networks like CNN and the NBC's Today Show. Guys, you're famous.
You too, Tam.
You're famous. So yeah, I do want to again give you the opportunity to introduce yourself. So if you would wave, Jerome, so they'll know who Jerome is, and Jeromyah. Yeah. So I do want to give you the opportunity to share a little bit about yourself and how you got started as an artist.
Yes, well, starting off, I'm Jerome W. Jones, Jr., the father, and I have always loved drawing and painting since I was about 3 years old. So I knew from the start that I wanted to be an artist, love creating, love sharing my talent with others. And so it's been a lifelong journey of enjoying using my gifts to uplift others. There's an art to loving life, and that love of life creates new worlds, and that love of life produces art from the heart. And that's what I've always loved doing, drawing and painting from the inspiration I receive from the Most High. My inspiration comes from the Heavenly Father. He blessed us with the gifts, and so it's exciting to be able to use that gift to make a difference in the world. One of my first exhibits, one-man exhibits, was at the Boys Club in Richmond, Virginia. And I was 14 years old, and I had over 75 paintings in that first art show. And so that really encouraged and inspired me to keep going. And I've always had a supportive family and community around me. So it's just been a wonderful blessing doing what I love to do. And that's what I enjoy about being an artist. I specialize in portraits, landscapes, and still lifes. And so I enjoy working in acrylics, and graduated from VCU, majored in painting and printmaking, graduated in 1980, and been doing it full time since 1987.
Awesome, amazing. I will say this, you answered all of my questions. I don't, you answered all my questions. It's all good. And Jeromyah, I mean, that was absolutely amazing. I appreciate you sharing that story, because it is from the Most High that we do all things, right? So Jeromyah, if you would jump right in there and you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started as an artist.
I'm Jeromyah Jones, and I would say that I live a life of iambic pentameters, freedom with parameters, metaphors and similes that make it worthwhile to smile. And yet these projections are forever critiqued by a society that sees using a one-eye inspection while the other is closed, falling between the nostrils of its nose. A society that cannot breathe, cannot live. So if the people are dead, to whom do we give? Well, I now share light with the stars from afar, and we're so close that maps aren't needed to know what the miles are. And being a child of the light, my My glare blinds the dwellers of the night, and it's so bright that it makes darkness insecure. And it's through my constant strain of meditation that I use sight to separate sound. And there's not a man-made force in this realm that can prevent me from seeing the things that others hear. And there's not a road on this block that can stop me from laughing at the things that others fear. See, I am the child of paradoxes that parallel, and it's my diction that forms beautiful contradictions, like I'm the offspring of spring, although I was born in the winter. And I didn't experience what cold was until I first heard about hell. And others saw truth as fairy tales, but even then I could tell that I was more than just an embryo in the shell. See, I climbed out an artist by claiming that which I couldn't comprehend, but even back then I really wasn't one. But because I had enough courage to say I was, then I was, and I am, and I always will be a visionary for justice, a writer of truth, a painter of life, and a poet of love. This is my life.
Well, come on, Jeromyah. Oh, word for the people. You a poet too.
Yes, ma'am.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
I was not expecting that. I was going to hit you with that at the end that I thought I heard, but evidently it's true. Amen. It's true.
All praise to the Most High. And I would say that my poetry a lot of times informs my imagery. And I truly believe that the spoken word form of art is the highest form of art because the Almighty spoke the world into existence.
Yes.
And my father and I, we see ourselves as apprentices to the Most High, the master artist from above. Mm-hmm. So we find ourselves in nature, philosophizing when we walk through the park. So often I call it taking notes. We take notes in the presence of our master. And that doesn't always mean we have a brush in our hands, but we're painting with our minds. And, you know, even when we don't have the tool in our hands. So it's conceptual, and it's conceptual before it becomes representational. You know, the inspiration is sometimes abstract before it becomes concrete on the canvas.
I absolutely love that. Okay, that was absolutely amazing. All of my questions I answered, guys. I don't know. So we're going to back up just a little bit. I do want to give you the opportunity to break out some of these things that I had for you, such as, I know that you said that you do landscape and all those good things, Jerome, but can you share with me what type of media that you like to create that artwork again?
Yes, I work in acrylics. And so I don't just do portrait paintings, but also do the landscapes. We love nature, and we're versatile. We love doing still lifes. So we have a plethora of different subjects that we paint. And I love acrylics better because the paint dries fast, and I can work fast with that. And so and we work in a range of sizes. And that's what I appreciate about the acrylics. I can change up, and if I have to make adjustments and whatnot, I like that better.
Awesome. And what media would you say, Jeromyah, that you like to create with as far as your artwork?
I like to primarily work with oil paints, and I started out with acrylics, and then I moved to colored pencils, but that became so tedious on my hands. You press down so hard on the paper, like layering the colors, and then because when I was growing up, I kind of got frustrated with paint. I would by no means call myself a prodigy, by no means. It's like, but I did it periodically throughout the years, and I would enter in art contests growing up. But I didn't begin to love painting until probably around maybe the 10th grade. And so it's a difference between when you're doing it, you know, maybe for a contest or, you know, for an art assignment in school, than when you actually start putting your own philosophy about life within your work, you know. So and then I started using the oil paints because it's I like to be able to come back maybe like 3 days later and work on a piece if I may, just in case I'm not inspired, you know, at the moment. So
okay. Well, thank you so much for that. Being an artist, you have to be inspired by something or someone. Now, I already know it's the Most High, right? That you both are inspired by. But are there any artists that you would say, Jerome, that you're inspired by, whether it be past artists or current artists today?
Wow, that's a tough question because there's so many great artists out there. I've always appreciated and loved the work of John Biggers. He was always been one of my favorite artists, as well as Henry O. Tanner. I enjoy his work and appreciate his work because of his spiritual themes in his work. Of course, the artists around today, this one right here beside me, can't help but say that. Yes, my son, and he's just done phenomenal work, and I'm just moved and excited about what he's doing. And I love how he incorporates the poetry in his work. And that's one of the things I also love to do. A lot of the pieces you see may have messages in them. There's always a message and a story in the work that we do. And so those are two of the artists. I like the work of Dr. Meredith Pillars. He was the dean of VCU when I was there, and he was a member of the group Afro Cobra, and so I love his work as well. And so I could go on and on. If I name some of them here today, I would be on here all day long. But I also love the photography of Hugh B. Jones. He's a great photographer, happens to be my brother. And so
I was going to ask, what was the relation? You know, you all want to know.
Yes.
So Jeromyah, what about yourself? Any past artists or current artists today that you kind of look at and be like, wow, that's awesome, and kind of like, I wouldn't mind trying a little bit of that.
Oh wow. There's so much inspiration I received growing up that it's like my work references in so many different ways. And I was just inspired by, I mean, my father growing up, he taught me how to paint trees, like literally. And that was so essential for me because like, I mean, just thinking about, I mean, like that's one of the foundations of life. Nature. Yeah. So I can just remember him, you know, just showing me how to do the highlights, you know, around a tree, and just showing me how to, you know, mix the lights and the darks, and just seeing, you know, he taught me, you know, not to look at the physical components of a person as, you know, those actual physical components. Don't look at an eye as an eye, a nose as a nose. Just like look at it abstractly, and you just putting lights next to darks. And he taught me that, you know, every painting is a self-portrait. So everything that we create is really some reflection of us. And so and when I think about who the greatest artist of the 20th century is, I would say that I would also say John Biggers, like my father. He's actually the primary reason I went to Hampton University. He was a muralist. I like the architectural structural nature in his work, the Afrocentric figures that he juxtaposed with the geometric shapes. I like the pop art of Roy Lichtenstein, the isolation of the figures in Edward Hopper's work. Deeply inspired by the 19th century realist movement. There's an artist named William Bouguereau who painted these classical figures in ways that just blew my mind when I first saw them. And so a lot of times I like to paint, especially our people, with a classical overtone, so that we remember the way we were, before our ancestors were enslaved. And I think that's so important to paint us as royalty. So there was a time that growing up, I said I didn't want to paint the hardships, but it's like there are so many, there's so much tribulation, it's too hard for me to ignore. So now I have to balance, being reactive and proactive, in my work. Yeah, but I like landscape artists like the Hudson River School. I like classicism and romanticism and those different movements that many would say contradict each other, but I see the harmony in it, and I decided to intertwine all of these eras of art that inspired me into one style that I would call Jeromyah.
Oh, I love that. So I mean, I can't even wrap my head around everything you just said. It's so awesome and dynamic, your work. I do want to talk about this 400 years banner. Like, I'm a fan of your work, but this banner, I had to figure out what inspired you, and collectively you put this together. Is that right?
Yes. My father, he was the mastermind behind the banner. Right after our show that we had in 2018 at the Main Street train station.
Okay.
Gallery at Main Street Station. And it's a fairly new gallery. We were blessed with the opportunity to have a show called Prophecy Makes History. And we had 37 pieces in that show. And a number of those pieces ended up in our banner, just showing how we are in the book that we read, whether you study it on Saturdays or Sundays, in church. But so often, we think we have to paint, a Black version of the Bible. But I mean, the Bible is a Black history book, and this is, I think this is so essential for the world to understand. Yes, there are other people in the book, but for us not to be able to see ourselves, that's a problem. And it's important that the world recognizes us in that book. And I think if they did, there would be a greater respect for those among them today. And then my father wanted to take the exhibit to the people. So,
so putting the artwork in a banner is a creative way of touring the artwork all across the country and the world. So it's 69 works of art in the banner, and it's entitled "I Am 400: The African Journey in America." And many of the portrait paintings in the banner have been autographed by some of the trailblazers and pioneers that we met over the years. And so it's a way of uplifting and honoring and highlighting the character, the culture, and the contributions of Africans in America. And it spans over 40 years worth of artwork. And
Wow.
so we're excited about this project, and it's been great. Colleges, universities, libraries, businesses have been purchasing the banner. And so we're excited about sharing it with Black Onyx Guide and having our artwork in this great new venture. So we are truly honored and appreciative of the great work that you are doing,
Yes.
Sister Steve.
Well, thank you so much. Well, I should be the one that's on it, which I am. I couldn't ask for two better artists to feature, to even include in the Black Onyx Guide artist directory in the gallery. I really appreciate you just, being willing to share that with our audience so that they can have an idea of, we have great Black excellence is all around us, right? Now, Jeromyah and Jerome, y'all got to come back, and I'll tell you why. You have so much to share and so much inspiration, and to get into that 400 years in the Bible being a Black history book, we got to talk about it. We got to talk about it. We got to tell the people what what it is, right? Because when you know, but if you don't know, you don't know. If you don't know that you're royalty, you don't carry yourself as royalty. But when you learn that you are royalty and there's more to you than just the color of your skin, then you can move into your truth.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree?
Oh, yes.
She knows what.
One of our acronyms for the I Am 400, I Am is Ingenious African Minds. And so the people that you see in the banner represents the brilliance and the resilience of our people. And so that's important for us to share with people from all walks of life. And one thing we like to share is there may be people that come to the site that are new at collecting work. The banner is one way that a family or a person can purchase this for their own personal collection, or they can have it on loan to put in a community center, a place of business. That's their way of saying, I want to share this with the community. It could be a school, whatever. Yes. And so, and it comes with a list telling you who each person is in the banner.
And there are different components to the banner. There's a spiritual aspect that I previously mentioned. Yes. There's a historical component to it. There's an athletic component to it. A literary component to it. I mean, a medical component to it. It just shows like all the different fields that our people have achieved.
Yeah. I mean, we are a dynamic people. Whatever we touch turns gold. Whatever we put our mind to, we excel at it. I don't know if you agree, but I say that all the time.
I agree.
Definitely.
Yeah. So thank you so much for sharing that with me regarding the 400-year banner. It is available to the public, individual sale, as well as organizations, community centers, and businesses. Everyone is welcome to purchase. There is no one particular group of people. Everyone is welcome to purchase anything at Black Onyx Guide and benefit from any information that you find or hear on Black Onyx Guide. It's for the world, right? It's a brand new platform for the world. So before we wrap things up, I did want to ask, what would you say to an aspiring artist, young artist who may, like you, Jeromyah, say, not really into this, but they have that gift, a gift that they cannot shake, right? So what would you say to that person to keep them encouraged? And either one of you can take that question.
Yeah. I would say you have to surround yourself with people and things that inspire you. Inspiration is like the life's blood for an artist, and for me, it's always thinking of creative ways to grow as an artist. To do your best, you have to not just be inspired. I always say it's 3 I's: inspiration, information, and imagination. Those 3 give you that insight as an artist to be able to be creative. Network with those that you admire that's doing great work. work hard at developing your talent. Do all that you to learn as much as you can, and then you're on your way. And think of creative ways to get your work out there.
Yeah.
So many today to be able to do that, and I think that's important.
I think one thing that would keep your motivation refreshed is, for young artists, I would take the different disciplines that they are learning in school that they don't like, or that they think they don't like, and find those within projects, visual art projects outside of school. So like if you don't like chemistry, like look at some of those formulas and intertwine that in a painting. If you don't like math, you know, look at the order of operations and see how that can relate to how we operate in life, you know. And I think when you incorporate all of these elements, you can produce compositions that would really draw so many different audiences, and I think that's encouraging in itself. When So and then go to museums. That's something my father did over the years. He took me to art receptions. I'll be honest, when I first started going to art receptions,
he thinking about it.
I was looking at the cookies on the table, like the cookies and the punch, you know. But it's like the more you start going, and you just see like so much inspiration around you.
Right.
It's like it's hard not to want to like produce on the canvas yourself.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I would study art history books and just look at the different eras of art and read the biographies of the artists. Sometimes that can motivate you. Just seeing documentaries on TV, films about artists, and it's motivational. It really is.
Love that. Thank you. I think the exposure to the museum. So parents, take your babies to the museums, to those art receptions, and expose them to different things. You never know what could come of it. So definitely do that. And I do want the people to know how to find you guys, how to follow you, how to view your artwork outside of BlackOnyxGuide.com. How would they view your artwork and follow your beautiful journey?
You can go to our website, JeromeWJonesJr.com.
Yeah.
All one word.
Yeah.
So any social medias that you want to put out there for people?
I have an Instagram at Jeromyah Jones. That's JeromYahJones. And if you need work on your walls, just give us a call. And if you need art for your home, get a Jerome and Jeromyah Jones.
Okay. Well, listen, there you have it. Jerome and Jeromyah Jones, Artist Talk. I would be remiss if I did not offer you the opportunity to please come back and join us for more conversation that will uplift our community and inspire individuals. I appreciate you both being here today. Anything else that I might have missed that you might find that people need to hear?
What else you want to share?
We just make every place we go our gallery, life our studio, and the world our museum.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Again, there you have it. Artist Talk with Jeromyah Jones and Jerome Jones. Please do subscribe to our channel, like and share this video. You can follow us at Black Onyx Guide, Facebook and Instagram. Until next time, I'm your host, Shakita Stevenson, CEO and founder of the Black Onyx Guide.